Hello, and it's Midas back again with another TypeScript video, and today we'll be looking at Boolean expressions. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please click on the subscribe button below, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I release a new video. Let's go. So, what are Boolean expressions? So we've looked at Booleans in our previous videos. And we know that Booleans are things that have the value true and false. So your true and your false are your Boolean values. So what are Boolean expressions? Boolean expressions are expressions that result in Boolean values. So an example of a Boolean expression is, let's say you have two numbers, A and B, and you wanted to know which one is greater than the other. So you could go A greater than B. Is A greater than B? The answer to that question would either be true or false. Is B greater than A? Same thing, true or false. Is A equal to B? Things like that. So we'll be looking at how that is done in TypeScript or JavaScript. So I've created a new file here, called it logic. So let's start off with our Boolean expression. So let's start off by creating a number. So you have a number here. Actually, let me do this. Number A number equals to 5, and I can let number B here equals to 6, and we'll use these two numbers to evaluate our different Boolean expressions. So let's start off. Let's say, now let me make B 6. That is 6. There you go. So how do we check if A is greater than B? So let's try and to see the result of this, let's log it onto the screen. So we can have, is A greater than B? So you looking at this here, this is your greater than sign, which I would like to think that you guys are familiar with. So let's check the other one. Is A less than B? If you want to do it the other way, maybe you want to do it this way. Is A greater than, is B greater than A? So let's try and run this and see the the results of each. So I'm going to compile my logic.ts there. Then I'm going to run it with node. So, and then you have false, true, true. So the first one is saying, is A greater than B? And it says false, because here the value of A is 5 and the value of B is 6, right? And then the second one, it says, is A less than B? These two statements are actually the same. So is A less than B and is B greater than A are actually result in the same value. So looking here, you can see that you have your true, your false, your false, your true, and your true, which are your Boolean values. So now I would like to think that those two are fairly easy. By those two, I mean that the greater than and the less than. So now let's say we want to check for equality. So that's actually not as, it is simple, but it's not as intuitive as you would think. So because you already know that a single equal sign here, we spoke about this in our previous video, is an assignment. So you're assigning the value 6 to the value B over here. So now to check if A is equals to B, we use the triple equals. So you'd have, is A equal to, is A equals to B. This is also a Boolean expression. This here is a Boolean expression. So this one here, B of type number equals to 6, is an assignment, while this one here is a Boolean expression. So this will result in a true or false. So let's compile our code again, run it, and then you have false, true, false, because it's saying is 5 equals to 6, which is not the case. Now let me change the 6 here into a 5 and see what happens. So let's compile our code again, run it. So we have false, false, true. So it's saying A is not greater than B and A is not less than B. And this one is saying A is equals to B. So you have your false, false, true. And then we have another one. So let's say you actually didn't want to check. So you wanted to check if A is not equal to B. So to show that when we want to do a not, we use the not, the exclamation. So this guy, sorry, the not is an exclamation. So if you want to check if A is not equal to B, you use the not, and we want to use the not operation here. So instead of, copy this down and just put it under there. Instead of using a triple equals to check, we remove one and we not it there. So this statement here is saying A is not equals to B. So in this case, since B and A have the same value 5, this should give us a false value. So let's compile and run it. So that's false. As soon as I change this guy here, make B a 15, compile and run it. So now it's true because A and B don't have the same value. So let's look at we still have two more to look at. Now let's say we want to check the case where A is less than B or B is less than A. So if you say is A less than B or is B less than A, or is B greater than A, right? Is A less than B or is A greater than B? Sorry, yes. So I'm going to use brackets over here. So I'll say is A less than B, and then to do the OR operator, we have two pipes. So we have two pipes over there, and then I'm just going to make another bracket here just to distinguish between the two expressions, and the other one here is A greater than B. So if you don't know how the OR operator works, it says if either of them is true, then this whole statement is true. So if we say if this is true, then the whole statement is true. If this is true, then the whole statement is true. But if both of them are false, then the whole statement is false. So now it's saying is, obviously we know that these two are not equal, so this should be true. So I'll compile it. And sorry, what did I do? Oh, JS. So now it says true. Now let me make A15 as well. So I'm going to make that 15. Then I'm going to compile it and run it, and now it's false because they are the same value. So both these statements are false. So the other one that I want us to look at is the AND operator. So for your AND, you have double ampersand. So what this means is that, so what double ampersand is, it says if this is true and that is true, then the whole statement is true. If either of them are false, then the whole statement is false. So in this case, it's saying is A less than B and is A greater than B. So let's compile, run, and we have both statements. Let me remove this first one here. I'm just going to compile quickly and then run it. So the statement is false because you can't have A being less than B and B and A also being greater than B at the same time. So that's why this will always be false in this case. Now let me create a third variable here and make it C, which is equal. So I'm going to make this 1, I'm going to make that 2, and then I'm going to make that 3. So if we say is A less than B, so we're saying is 1 less than 2, this is going to be true. And then we're going to say is C greater than B. So it's going to say is 3 greater than 2. So we expect the statement here to be false, to be true, I mean, sorry. So let's compile that and run it again. So that is a true statement. So that's what we have for our Boolean operators. And let me show you one other case where you can use the not. So if a statement is true and you say not true, then you make it false. And then if a statement is false and you make it not false, you make it true. So every time you apply the not on a Boolean, it just changes it to the other one. So if it was true, it changes it into a false. If it was false, it changes it into a true. So to see this here, so I can go not, which is our not operator, and then I can just type false over there. So this should print out a true. So I'm just going to compile that quickly and then run it. So that's true. Now if I go not true, change that over there. So and then compile, run, and that's false because it's not true. So, and if I do a statement like, so is A greater than B, we know that A is not greater than B. So if I go A greater than B and then I not the resulting value, that should give us a true. So I'm going to compile. That's true. So if I just change this to be less than there, so we're saying A is less than B inside the brackets, and we know that 1 is less than 2, so this is true, but we're saying not of the true, so it's going to give us a false result. So compile, run, and it's false. I think that's it for our Boolean expressions, and in the next video we'll be using these Boolean expressions to add paths to the flow. So you'll be writing code that happens when something is true and some other block of code that happens when something is false. So we'll be doing control flows in the next video. And please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And you can also find my links to my Facebook page and Twitter in my profile. And yeah, yes, sir.